Hey, this is Leif Ganford. I played the cash register thief in The Amazing Spider-Man, and you're listening to the Everything Geek podcast.
Hey, this is Rich McDonald, and I play Commander David Mason on Call of Duty Black Ops 2. And you're listening to Everything Geek podcast.
Hello, I'm Simon Fisherbecker. You probably know me better as Dorian Moldavar from Doctor Who, or the Fat Friar from Harry Potter. And this is Everything Geek Podcast.
Your attention, masters, mistresses. All systems functional for the Everything Geek Podcast.
Hey, it's James Arnold Taylor, the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Master Plo Koon in Star Wars The Clone Wars, and you're listening to Everything Geek, the podcast.
Face it, Tiger. You just hit the jackpot with the Everything Geek podcast.
Hello everyone, you're listening to the Everything Geek podcast. I'm your host Ruari, and joining me is co-host Lawron. And also joining us today is a very special guest. We have actress Jo Armeniox, who is best known as the voice of Shauna in Pokémon, and who has also played Katniss in CollegeHumor Originals, Alma Pastor in Boardwalk Empire, Tiffani in Blue Bloods, Christine in Certainty, and Stacy in My Best Day. So, how are you today, Jo?
Great, thank you.
It's a pleasure that you join us on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
That's great. That's really great. So getting into my questions right away, Jo, my first question is, how did you decide you wanted to become an actress?
Let's see, my mom actually was doing community theater when I was a kid, and I was like 3 years old and went to some rehearsal with her and was really confused why I couldn't be like the star of this show that was going on, and kept like telling her and the director, like, excuse me, I need to be the lead in this show, like demanding to be like the female lead, and she was like, oh god, here we go. So that kind of started it. And then I just did like theater growing up as a kid. My mom was super amazing, super supportive, you know, like she's really talented. So I don't know. Not talking.
Yeah, it's very. That is very interesting, though, and I mean, I totally get what you're saying. I mean, everyone wants to be the star growing up. Like, no other ways about it. You're either number one or you're not.
Like, what a brat I was. Like, she must have been like, this is awful.
Yeah.
This is going to be terrible. She's going to be poor and
Yeah.
for the rest of her life.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get it, though. Like, I mean, everyone's had that moment, though, growing up, where they want to be viewed as the best, really. I mean, they want to be the best like no one ever was. A bit early for the Pokémon jokes, actually.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah. So, getting into my second question, how did you get cast as the voice of Shauna in Pokémon, and were you a fan of the show before you got the role?
Yeah, my friend Sarah Nanacheni is plays Ash. She's the voice of Ash on Pokemon, and she and I were talking, and we were on, this was like a while ago, on like Facebook or something, just like catching up, and she's like, you should go in and meet with Tom, who's like our director, and he auditioned me for Shauna, and everything just sort of happened very quickly. But Serena is just like this amazing goddess of a woman. I'm just like super girl crush on her. She's so cool, and playing Ash is just so awesome because she's got so many facets to her personality, and like I was just really honored that she basically handed me the opportunity. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that is very interesting, though. Yeah, I mean, it's just great. You can say the lead character in the show got me a part in it. Like, that is very cool. So, my third question for you is, Shauna is pretty significant in helping main character Serena discover her goal, which is to be a Pokemon performer. Were you surprised at how big of a role Shauna played in helping Serena finally discover her goal?
I sort of felt like I wasn't surprised because I was really excited for Shauna to be so supportive, and like she's all about girl power, and like she's also like super driven. I mean, she's really such a cool character, and I kind of felt like her instincts, or at least my instincts, like were excited for her to just kind of naturally go there, and I didn't anticipate that she would be written to be like in any way a negative influence at all, and I liked that. I liked that, that she was like, yay, Serena, and everything's like super fun, and she's like able to be a good friend and a competitor at the same time, because that doesn't happen very often, especially with like female characters, even in cartoons or all different formats, all different types of TV shows and everything, and across the spectrum. It's not something that you typically see. You usually see like bitter women that like don't want to be friends with each other, that are competing with each other, and so yeah, it wasn't. I'm happy that that's what happened. She's just such a cool, fun character, like go girl power.
Yeah, that's definitely really great. I mean, it is great, that Serena and Shauna have that dynamic where they're friends, and of course there's a bit of competition, which we'll see, kind of a small rivalry in some ways, because of course they both want to be performers now, so it'll be interesting to see that a little bit, how that changes their dynamic, I guess, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely very interesting, of course, what you were saying with girl power and all that. Yeah, I can definitely see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I think it's like a step in the right direction for that to be part of, the storyline, to have the female characters supporting each other and being really similar too, like being two, characters that, have similar characteristics, and they want the same things, and then they're rooting for each other. So
yeah, definitely. My fourth question is, Shauna returns in today's episode of Pokemon titled A Showcase Debut. Is there anything you can tease about Shauna's role in this episode, and does anything exciting happen for her?
All I can say, I think I know what's happening, but I just know that I'm like really good at what I do, and like I've pretty much like kicked butt. Yeah, like everybody knows Shauna's pretty awesome at like what she does. Like that doesn't stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean. Yeah, that's great. My final question for you is, do you have any upcoming acting roles or any other projects you would like to talk about?
Yeah, I'm working. I just finished. Well, actually, I'm still in production with a short that I just been working on for a while now. It's a really cool feature project that I hope gets turned into a feature called Memories of My Mother. And I've got a couple of other, I'm working for 3 different TV shows doing voice work for Music Choice, which is like a really cool program. It's like funny and cool, and they do a bunch of like music related stuff and a bunch of other voiceover stuff happening, and a couple of other film projects that are in the works. One that's actually still untitled, but I'm hoping gets going here soon, because that would be, great. Just constantly working. So yeah, things are busy. Things are good. Things are great.
That's great. We'll definitely be sure to keep an eye out for some of those projects to see if there's any developments on them. So thank you very much for answering my questions, Jo. I'll let my co-host Luzon ask his now.
Okay, cool. Thanks so much.
Yeah, I've got a few questions here for you. My first question is, what's been your favorite project to work on and why?
That's it's a really strange project. It was, I guess on a show called Unforgettable a while ago, some years ago. I was on, it's a show on CBS. I don't know if it's still airing or not. It makes me sound bad for not knowing, but it was a role that was really different and really difficult. I was playing like this criminal that like I leave my baby in a hallway and I'm always like on drugs and like I'm basically like just a real like low life jerk, and it was just a really great role because I got to get dirty and just be tough and get to show like certain parts of myself that you don't normally get to show, and the reactions from people afterwards, like seeing it, they were like, God, it's so funny when people say, they're like, God, you look so ugly. And I was like, thank you. Like, it's such a weird compliment to get, but for actors, it's like, yeah, that's what I want. I wanted you to feel like that. And, it's not about vanity at that point. So yeah, that would probably be it.
That's very cool to hear. And my next question for you is, what advice would you give anyone or any particular person trying to get into the acting industry? What would you tell them?
I would say to respect yourself, respect your time, your space, and don't be willing to just do anything, and be supportive of other people. Like a lot of people can get, a little too weird or competitive and don't know how to like connect with other people. Like it can get way too lonely because of the way that the industry works. You have to create a network for yourself, and you need people there for you and to learn from people and to grow, and it's like an organism, and to not be afraid to take risks. You need people there to catch you, and it's a tough business, but you have to know your limits and not be willing to, it's so hard. People will sometimes, they'll spend tons of money on headshots and all these things, and it's like, all this money is spent on stuff that isn't necessarily going to get you what you want out of it, and then you're just stuck like broke going like, why am I not on TV yet, and there's more to it than that, I think there's more to networking and stuff. I think taking really great classes and stuff is really important.
Wow, that's a very encouraging answer. Thank you for that. And it's very informative too. My last question for you is, what actors or actresses would you love to work with in the future of your career, and why?
Oh my God, I'd really love to work with obviously Meryl Streep and Ellen Burstyn, Helen Mirren, strangely Billy Bob Thornton. What if I just started naming bands like Leonard Skinner? There's there's so many people. The more I have worked in this industry, the more I've realized that people are everybody is so good in so many different ways, and I've put so many people on pedestals now. I don't know, Meryl Streep, obviously, she's like a god. She's, I think, the best actor of our generation. Of the time that I'm going to spend on Earth, that would be the person that I think of in the highest light. She's just amazing. So yeah, that's the dream, I think, for sure.
Awesome answer. Well, thank you so much for answering my questions, Joe. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. I'm going to go ahead and give you back to our co-host, Rory.
Your co-host?
Oh, honored. Thank you.
Our co-host. Oh, my goodness.
I've been relegated. I've been relegated on my own podcast.
What?
I'm the host of the podcast. Laurent just called me the co-host. It's embarrassing. I've been demoted.
To the assistant.
I'm not going to live this down.
Yeah, I'm gonna be haunted by this one forever. You have no idea, Joe.
Yeah. We'll be
talking donuts tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Donuts, like donuts or popcorn is the only way this could get any better.
Popcorn, really?
It's kind of the normal thing associated with funny when something funny happens. I don't know. Anyway. So yeah, Joe, we also have a few questions from one of our co-hosts, Graham, who couldn't make it today, unfortunately. His first one is, what was your experience like working on Boardwalk Empire? When you were on the set, did you feel like the essence of the time was captured right?
Oh my god, yeah. Oh, Boardwalk is bananas. Like, and to use a word that's stupid, you know that I mean it, because like the production quality, or was, now it's not on, but it's insane. I mean, the sets, down to the last detail, it's magical. And even like doing one of my scenes where I get pulled out of this car, they've got this gorgeous antique car that somehow still runs, and like, you know, they've got to drag me out by a rope, you know, around my neck out of this car, and they're like, just, you know, be careful of the interior. I'm like, I'm the one getting dragged out of the freaking car here, but I get it. Like, there's just, I mean, there's millions of dollars poured into that kind of detail, and it's undeniably one of the best shows that, you know, I've ever seen, and it's ever been on television. It's just such an honor to be a part of it. And I mean, the actors are just, I learned so much. It was a whole other level of a whole other playing field, you know. It was so cool. Really cool.
That's great, definitely. His second question is, do you have any particular methods you use to get into character? If so, could you share a few with us?
It's such a funny question, because I feel like everybody's so weird. Like, actors are so strange, and I'm just like a total weirdo, and I do weird things. Like, I don't know, sometimes I like wear clothes that I think somebody would wear, and that's like sort of going outside in, or like doing my hair or makeup a way that I think somebody would do it, and that's another outside in thing. But a lot of times I'll just go to the gym and like get on the treadmill if I feel like it, or elliptical when I'm feeling lazy, and just work out really hard and try to imagine that I am in that person's body, so that I sort of think of myself as them, and then my body movements and everything sort of change. And it sounds crazy, but everybody has their own weird methods and that kind of stuff. But for me, it's all really physical, and I really need to like feel something in my body, and you know, that kind of thing. Some people can just turn it on and turn it off, and I wish I was like that. I admire those people, but I definitely need time, you know, to work it in. Does that make any sense? I don't know. It sounded crazy.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Like, I completely understand.
Okay. Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm weird too, so of course I get it. Not that I work out before every podcast, but, you know, I get it. Yeah. So, yeah, thank you for sharing that. His third question is, out of all of your credits, have you had a more positive experience in voice acting or working on camera?
I don't know. I think just recently I started doing a lot of voice stuff, which has been so cool. Like, it's pretty pretty awesome because I don't have to worry about what I look like at all. I can just like show up and it's like a different kind of energy to use. But you know, film and TV, it's been great as well over time. It's just sort of all kind of meshing together now, which is awesome. And it feels like I'm building a career in both worlds, and I think that's the goal that everybody wants, is to sort of be able to have their hands in all different pots and be fortunate enough to work with people that, you know, are just really cool and understand, you know, why you love doing it and appreciate whatever talent you have to offer. And right now I feel like I'm in a good place with the voice stuff, and with my film and TV stuff, it's good. So, God, keep that. I'm like knocking on wood right now because you just never know what happens.
Yeah, that's definitely great though, yeah. But his final question is, so far what has been your best experience in your acting career? Do you have a proudest moment?
Yeah, I worked on a film that went to Sundance a few years ago called My Best Day, and it was amazing. It was just like such a cool project. It was like, you know, getting paid like in peanuts, but the script was phenomenal. And the second I read it, I put it down, went to the gym, and was like, I gotta find this character. And being there and like working with people, and there's a scene that like an extra had to do with me where she's like on the other side of this screen thing, but the director was like, you can leave if you want. And I saw the extra was like, oh, could you stay? And I was like, yeah, totally. And the director was like, really? You don't mind? I'm like, no, of course not. And doing that kind of stuff, like for, you know, showing that like you respect people on set that are working there with you, and you know, because they're there on their time too, you know, and I think like honoring the people that are all putting their time in and being a part of like the whole group and not excluding yourself from the nature of like that. I like feeling like I'm part of a family when I'm working on a project, and that particular project was just like I'm still so close with so many people from that. It sort of stuck with me, you know. So definitely that project for sure.
That's all of our questions to you today, Jo. It's been a pleasure having you on the podcast.
I'm so honored. Thank you so much.
Hopefully we can talk to you again at some point.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Yeah, so we'll talk to you again soon then. Bye.
All right, bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
So make sure to check out our YouTube channels. The podcast is www.youtube.com/user/everythinggeekcast. Mine is www.youtube.com/user/separatist-destroyers. Lawron's is www.youtube.com/user/StarLegend9595. Check out our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/everythinggeekpodcast. Check us out on Twitter, twitter.com/everythinggeekp. Check us out on Instagram, instagram.com/officialeverythinggeekpodcast. Check out our Mixcloud profile, www.mixcloud.com/everythinggeekpodcast. Email us at the below email, everythinggeekpodcast@gmail.com. Check out Jo Armeniox on Twitter, twitter.com/Jo Armeniox. And check out Channel 1 and Create, where we broadcast live from www.channel1create.com. So geeks out, everyone.